Hi folks, welcome to your latest mwis Planning Outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Now we do have plenty of fine weather this weekend, but we still have some problems with fog plaguing western hills in Scotland and rather windy conditions across the far north as well. The general pattern for the week ahead though is a settled one with high pressure in charge with a very low risk of any showers, but that might just change as we head towards next weekend with indications looking that bit more unsettled and the risk of some downpours. It'll be a rather uncertain road to get to that point though. Let's just have a look at one or two bits, and first of all just to show you where we are right now, there's a zone of high pressure that's extended in across the British Isles and a general southwesterly fetch that is across the Atlantic. That's dragging the moisture to produce the fog in western Scotland. This chart also highlights what's just been going on in the devastating weather across the continent, where we've got a slow moving zone of low pressure and cooler air that exists higher up in the atmosphere, and that is the trigger for the instability within the atmosphere to produce the heavy downpours. And when these things just sit and circulate and spin and stay in one place over a length of time, that just mounts up the rainfall over a day or so. It is all tied into the jet stream, but in a chicken and egg sort of way, in the sense that the jet stream is part and parcel of the warmer and cooler bodies of air that do exist all around the hemisphere. And when we get into quite a blocked atmospheric setup as this is, from a day-to-day weather forecasting point of view, it can produce these rather extreme weather events. Anything that just moves around slowly, if it's a very unstable atmosphere that sits in one place, that's going to create a lot of rainfall. Fortunately, we don't have any of those problems to contend with at the moment. We are looking at some unstable air moving in toward next weekend, and more on that in a moment. But for now, it's high pressure and settled, stable air that's in charge across Britain. But we do have a rather squeeze of the isobars toward the north, and that's producing some very windy conditions across northern Scotland through Saturday, and quite blustery across much of the Highlands all the way through. The strongest of the winds then focused on northern summits around Ben Hope, even around the Coolin on Skye. Could well see gale force winds 40, even gusting 50 at times through the day on Saturday. We're still dragging in the moisture then from the Atlantic, so those western coastal areas plagued in low cloud and fog. Some summits inland getting some breaks and some clearances coming through, maybe even just about poking through above the cloud. It's not a particularly deep layer of cloud, so there's a chance that an inversion setup that's just above the cloud layer might get some of the higher tops to poke out of it from time to time. And the further east you go across the Highlands, that cloud is much more broken and lots of warm sunshine will be found towards the east, and lots of warm sunshine too for the south of Scotland, England and Wales, with much lighter winds here. Your valley temperatures inland getting up into the mid-20s by the afternoon, where the sunshine is there all day, and around the Peak District could be 27 or 28, but much cooler in the northwest of Scotland. We've still got some fronts bothering us across the north into Sunday, but as pressure builds a bit further northwards, that will tend to weaken that frontal zone as the wind drops as well. The cloud sheet will tend to break a little bit more readily, still plaguing some western and northern hills for a good part of the day, but some breaks will form and some brighter spells coming through. A few spits and spots of rain around where that front exists, but amounting to very little. And generally for the south, the east of Scotland, England and Wales, it's another very warm and sunny day with light winds. High pressure stays very much in charge into Monday. Those fronts have sort of broken up and gone south eastwards. We do still have some moist air though off the Atlantic skirting to the north of Scotland, so still some of those northern and northwestern hills nearest the coasts may well see some fog banks plaguing these areas, and again just the chance of some of the higher summits getting through above that where the cloud does exist. Again, further south and east across the country, generally a dry, warm and sunny day. Light winds then for most places, still something of a westerly breeze in the very far north of the Highlands though. There's just a chance that some of those low-level cloud and fog banks may have been just drawn around the high and into some eastern coastal areas, perhaps even lapping inland to the Cheviots and the Pennines for a time, but that should break up pretty readily early in the day. Quite a slack high pressure system then is in charge into the middle of the week, which may just allow a bit of humidity to build and just the chance of an isolated shower forming perhaps across mid-Wales by the afternoon, but very, very isolated. Most places likely to stay dry throughout with some sunshine and warm temperatures. Generally across the Highlands, a better chance of being clear all the way through, but one or two local pockets of fog around the coast could still just exist in places. High pressure then stays towards the north into Wednesday with a generally light southeasterly drift in place by this stage, light winds overall. Just a chance again of 1 or 2 isolated showers forming as a bit of humidity gets to work in the afternoon, but most places staying dry with lots of sunshine. Notice away toward the southwest that low pressure is starting to appear, and that's what we're then watching for the story towards next weekend. Much uncertainty surrounds how that behaves, but many indications do just see a bit of a change as we go to the end of the week as high pressure begins to just move further eastwards, that low pressure area over the Atlantic drifts slowly in, and we then find ourselves next weekend more likely to be under a trough in the atmosphere rather than a ridge of high pressure. So we're under lower pressure, we've got some instability, we're into this situation with a cooler atmosphere coming over the top of us. So we have that threat of some slow-moving thundery downpours developing. These, again, could be very hit and miss, but a greater risk of them forming widely. So I think the story overall for next weekend is quite a different one to where we are right now, with the threat of some downpours of rain in the forecast. And I think the outlook into the following week just looks a bit more mixed as things start to drift in a little bit more from the Atlantic. Ridges of high pressure interspersed with occasional fronts trying to come towards the north. It may still be that there's a few good, fine and warm days in there though. Things to watch then as we go a bit further ahead. You can keep up to date, of course, with all your local details for the next 3 days on our website. That's been your Planning Outlook in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.